Bring to us your poetry from inspiration sought. Come join us with your images, your verses, words, and thought. From here, we'll share your balladry with those who do not know it. The platform's here for you to show the world that you're the poet.
Welcome to episode 38 of You're the Poet, the poetry podcast featuring you. I'm host Matt Burgio, and I'm here with co-host Phil Burgio. Phil, welcome.
Anytime.
Here at You're the Poet, our purpose is to share our love of poetry with the world and invite you to do the same. I want to start by saying thank you to all of our listeners who have made You're the Poet possible. We hope you enjoyed the podcast and the poetry that is shared here. Our featured guest for this episode of You're the Poet is returning guest Ryan Morgan, who is joining us from Ireland. Ryan, welcome back to You're the Poet.
Oh, thanks for having me back, guys. I'm so thrilled to be here.
Yeah, we're glad you could join us, and we look forward to your contribution to the episode. To start things off, I'm going to turn it over to Phil to share a classic poem for the episode. Phil?
Right. This poem, it's lyrics to a song. You probably heard it, you probably know it. It's The Parting Glass. But the version I'm going to read was from the early 19th century. There's been different versions, and in the 20th century, Tommy Makem and the Irish Rovers made it popular with the modern version of it. It's The Parting Glass, or the stirrup cup, as they call it. It's like if when a guest is leaving, they'd give them basically one for the road. And then they would sing this song. And this was a popular parting song until Robert Burns wrote Old Lang Syne. So here it is, The Parting Glass. All the money e'er I had, I spent it in good company. All the hardships e'er I had, alas, they were to none but me. From what I've done for want of wit, my memory I will recall. I hope to mend it all as yet. Good night and joy be with you all. If I had money for the spend, and time and place to sit a while, there's a fair maid in this town, so fain I would her heart beguile. Her cherry cheeks, her ruby lips, alas, she has my heart withal. Come, give me the parting kiss. Good night and joy be with you all. But now the time is drawing near, when here no longer I can stay. There was ne'er a comrade ever I had, but was sorry at my going away. But since it's happened so with me, that you're to rise and I'm to fall, come give me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. That's a traditional.
All right, thank you.
That's beautiful. Honestly, that song has undergone so many different changes and mutations over the years. There's a certain poignancy, isn't it, though, to it?
Yeah.
Which is absolutely beautiful. And it's often sung over here to funerals.
Yeah, okay, right.
Yeah, and during wakes as well. There's a more modern verse at the end that says, a man may drink and not be drunk. A man may fight and not be slain. A man may court a pretty girl and perhaps be welcomed home again. But since it has so ought to be a time to rise and a time to fall, fill to me a parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all.
Very nice.
It's kind of a little bit like that kind of, was it Robert Frost who said, gladly did I live and gladly die and lay me down with a will? I think it was Robert Frost who said that. It might have been Robert Louis Stevenson, actually. So I'm willing to be name-checked on that. The idea of a life being so well-lived and to stand up from the table with no regrets and out into the night.
There's a video on YouTube, the funeral of one of the Irish Rovers, and they sing that song, the complete song.
Ah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I was telling Phil when I've heard versions of it, it reminded me of some of my college songs. I was in the fraternity here, Phi Mu Alpha Sinfonia. It was a men's music fraternity, and they would sing 4-part works and harmonies and things, and it sounded like something that my fraternity brothers would sing as a parting or as a farewell.
Yeah. Fantastic. It's better if you slur it. So you have to be well into the evening in order to sing that one, I think.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah, exactly. The more legato, the better.
All right. From here, we're going to go to my poem for the episode. This is just a short little poem I wrote. I believe it came from a Facebook prompt. On one of the Facebook groups, somebody occasionally throws out a prompt for an acrostic. And so I know we've talked about acrostics on this podcast before. Or, if you look at the poem visually, which you can't do here on the audio podcast, but the first letter of the line spell out a word if you look at it vertically. And so this one is called forecast. Formed in memories, our past sets the stage. reveling in all experiences, changing them, molding them, arranging them anew, so future self will have a seed to flourish life ahead. Matthew Burgio.
Good acrostic, Matt.
Thank you.
That's a beautiful acrostic. It's so hard to do a decent acrostic, but you managed to do it.
Well, thank you. I tried to jump on some of those challenges and say, okay, can I sit down here in a few minutes and write a poem based on their challenge? Short and sweet, but thought it came out pretty well.
Just like an apple donut.
Truth.
It was good.
Although we didn't scrum for our apples.
Ah.
I had to throw that in there somewhere this episode. We truly loved your scrumping poem
Yes.
from episode 18.
Oh, that's great. Great. So, I mean, hopefully you got up to some shenanigans in the autumn twilight.
Oh, yes.
Uh,
We were worried here all our pears might die.
Might.
The pear tree blossomed, and then we get these frosts, and the frost kills all the flowers off the pear tree, then we don't get any pears.
no. And did you lose the crop, or was it all right?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
We make a fantastic pear walnut pie. We might have to buy the pears for that.
Yeah,
It
we'll
won't be the
see.
same.
Nah. Yeah. Well, that sounds delightful.
Oh, yeah. All right, from here, we're going to turn it back over to Phil so he can share his poem for the episode. Phil?
Speaking of food, this is another one of those challenge things. It's because it's got a different rhyming scheme. It's a Terza Rima poem. Terza Rima Stew. I put some oil in a pot and include some onions too. I let it fry until it's hot to make this tasty stew. Cuts of meat are next to add to simmer with the brew with a secret herb I had. Broth and wine go in with garlic just a tad, some vegetables for flavor, then a bit of roux. Salt and pepper to help the savor for this hearty stew. Philip Burgio.
Yeah, all right, thank you. Yeah, I'll give you a little backstory here. This actually came from a challenge from me. I challenged both Phil and James Bryant, another guest here on You're the Poet, to write a Terza Rima. We were messing around with different forms and talking about the puzzle of putting different poetic forms together. Actually, and I think it was, I can't remember now if this was the poem that, I believe on your episode, I shared the poem about the Red Barn.
That's right.
Yeah, and at the time, I couldn't think of what the form of that poem was. And I think I discovered later that it was the Terza Rima.
Terza Rima.
And so I challenged Phil and James to write one, and they both wrote one. And this was Phil's answer to my challenge.
Well, I have to confess complete ignorance. What is a Terza Rima?
Oh, he's going to throw me on the spot.
Oh, sorry.
No.
It's just the form of the different rhyming. You know, it's like A, B, blah, 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 that
Oh, yeah.
kind of thing.
So it goes, it's divided in sort of the 3-line stanzas where it's the rhyme scheme follows like an ABA, and the next one's like a BCB, and then CD,
Yes.
and then it kind of ends with a
X, Y, Z or whatever.
like a whatever. And there's a couple of different variations. Phil did a slightly different variation than the one that I did. But yeah, so
I have to give that a go.
yeah,
That sounds like a great idea.
worth checking out. We're looking at sonnets and different things, and so this was another form to just play with and have fun with.
Mm.
I like poetry. It's like a puzzle for me. It gives me a challenge. Let me try this style. Let me try that style.
Yeah. And sometimes I can unlock things, can't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, from here we want to move to our guest section of the episode. Ryan, you're the poet. Show us what you've got.
Okay, well, this poem is from my new book, my first book, produced by Wheelsong Poetry. Many thanks to Steve Wheeler. The book is called Elementals, and this is the titular poem called Elementals. I wandered the wooded ways, then stepped into a tree's embrace. I surged with the sap to unfurl with the sun, delved deep to draw upon the waters of life, memory, and forgetfulness. Joyously bore fruit, complained under the weight, and bore pain at its plucking. Bent and broke below deluge and drought, then put forth new limbs as the sky wept and smiled. I lived, grew, died, then lived again, stood outstretched as the cosmos wheeled about me, and the planted past persisted below. I dreamed the elements, of roots and rudiments, of earth and life, of sky and stone, of light and reflection, of time and tides, of seasons and cycles, of limits and boundaries, of space and connection, and became a child of elementals. Freedom to transform is ever our own. Brian Morgan.
All right. Thank you for sharing.
People are going to be reading that 100 years from now. That was great.
Oh, thank you. That's quite a compliment. Thank you very much, Phil.
You know what I love about this poem is that if you would skip the first part of this poem, you would read this as somebody describing a tree and the life of a tree. And I like how you included yourself in that you became the tree. You know, I wandered the wooded ways, then stepped into a tree's embrace and sort of like became one with the tree. And then you go through all this explanation of, well, the elementals. And I think that's a great poem for the start of the book. As you said, the title poem. That's a great way to set the stage for life and being in general.
Oh, thank you so much, man. I really, really appreciate it because that's what I wanted to do. The book itself then is split up into subsections, and there's selections of poetry underneath. There's one section called Of Roots and Rudiments, and another section called Of Earth and Life, and another of Sky and Stone, etc., etc. And I thought that this was kind of a neat way to encapsulate the kind of poet's journey, or at least the journey that I've taken in trying to understand myself through the poems that I write and understand the way in which the world affects me, I think.
Well, I think you did a great job with that.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. I mean, it has certain Arthurian... I can't escape my culture, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, I suppose, but in sort of Arthurian legend, there's this idea of Merlin, King Arthur's bard and wizard, being sort of sucked into a tree and turned into a tree.
Right.
Tricked into a tree, I suppose. There's that kind of idea going through a lot of Celtic mythology.
Oh, yeah. And on a side note related to that, I'm actually reading The Once and Future King this year.
Ah, you really?
So very familiar with Merlin and the going-ons there.
Did Morgana get Morgana Fey? Is that the one who got him into the tree?
No.
I think it depends on which version you look at. Morgana Le Fay would be... Oh, I think that's...
I thought she's the one that trapped Arthur, that she's like Arthur's...
half-sister?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Nimue, I think, if I remember rightly.
Yes.
It's Nimue who traps...
That's the one.
Yeah.
Now I got to watch Excalibur.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, all the characters get mashed up depending on what...
They do.
I mean, my favorite version is the Disney version, you know, where they turn into fish and...
Right.
Bibbidi bobbidi boo.
Truly my favorite Arthur thing is Monty Python.
Search for the Holy Grail.
Search for the Holy Grail, yeah.
Absolutely.
The Knights of Nye.
Knights are saying, "Nee!" That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we are searching for a shrubbery. Excellent stuff.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, good setup there to the...
It's only a flesh. We'll get
to the whole thing.
You got it. Ryan, you got another one for us?
Another poem or another Monty Python reference?
Either or.
Either one will do.
Well, this is also from the book, and this is from the section of Roots and Rudiments. It's called Taking Apart Descartes. What is the mind that squats behind these primate eyes? Is it an ape in disguise? It swings among the strings that are hung and the springs which are strung twixt vision and tongue since I was young, flinging dung, yelling at everyone, cogito ergo sum. The point of awareness that anoints my consciousness is a depthly half-wit, but what exactly is it? This flashlight inside that desires to thrill ride down life's free will slide, all wild-eyed and wide astride the mind-body divide, until it's time to hide. Afraid it'll be crucified, being to anxiety tied, left high to die unidentified. What is this thing that can laugh and sing, and cannot stop thinking even as it is sinking? From whence did it come? It can be senseless and dumb, or nervously numb, but other times overcome the hurdles of life. Its curdles and strife, they are certainly rife and can hurt like a knife. Yet it can ponder and puzzle to get beyond the trouble. Is it just a knotted bundle of neurons in the prefrontal cortex of my cerebrum? Or is it from the Garden of Eden, a fingerprint of a divine touch? Or merely instinct compiled in a clutch of a seemingly cognizant and aware personality that's not present or there, but is rather a sensory processing array grown sufficiently complex to say, I am, like Yahweh in the desert to Moses? Is it no more than a deluded apotheosis of firing synapses and neural chemistry, inspiring mirages that there is a real me? Or a blinking amalgam of glands in sync? I think, therefore I am, or I am, therefore I think. Ryan Morgan.
That's a good one. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, thank you very much.
That's okay.
You know, I wanted to talk about this. I'm going to talk about it here because this poem is perfect for this. When I first saw the post on Wheelsong's Facebook page about elementals coming out, I made the joke, well, not really a joke, really, in all seriousness, I asked if there would be an audiobook version of elementals. Because I tell you what, half the joy, Ryan, is hearing you read your poetry.
Amen.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. That's beautiful of you to say.
You bring it to life in such a way that, me sitting here reading it on my own just does not do. I mean, I can read it and I can appreciate
Not
it.
the same.
But I tell you what, you really bring it to life. And I would love to hear an audiobook of this, of elementals or any of your poetry.
Well, I'd love to do one. That'd be a fantastic thing to do. And I'm glad you enjoy it. Thank you.
And I don't know if it's, the singer, the performer, the what, but you just have a great voice for bringing the poetry to life. I love that. Taking an already great poem and just taking it to the next level with your performance of it. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I don't know how to respond to a compliment. I never have.
The only one that would be comparable if it's Richard Burton read your poem.
And I really don't know how to respond to that. That's something I would love to do. I think that'd be great for a lot of us to do, a compilation.
Yeah, and we've talked about that because we talked about in the future maybe doing a You're the Poet anthology.
Mm.
And I really think that if we put it together, that I would also love to have the audiobook version, because that's one of the things we love about this podcast is getting to hear everybody's voice. Everybody brings their poem to life in a different way, perceiving it in a different way than other people might. I think for poetry, I'm really learning that almost like Shakespeare is meant to be watched and not read, that I feel like poetry really is a different element when it's brought to life through the spoken word.
Yeah, I agree. And the way that I write poetry, as you know, as many of us are, we're musicians, and there's a certain sense of pulse and cadence that I can feel as I'm writing it. And I'm also aware when I'm not doing it, incidentally, and I can't figure out how to back around that corner.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I was thinking about that exact same thing in our episode with Robert Nolan Clark, and we were talking about, writing a lot of poems, and some of them are good and some of them are not so good, and we can recognize that as poets. And I was thinking of that element that, sometimes that rhythm flows and you're getting that pulse, so that just sometimes you just can't make it work or it just doesn't sound right. And
Yeah. And I think very often feeling confident to cut is the hardest thing.
Yeah, I have a hard time with that when I'm editing.
Yeah. Especially, of course, if you've bound yourself to a particular form.
Right.
It can be very, very tricky. Very, very tricky. Although I noticed as I was editing this that I seem to be addicted to the definite article. The word "the" was everywhere.
Hey.
Just everywhere, And the word and yet this, yet that. It's such a... Very often it's not needed, I think, actually.
Well, I tell you what, a lot of times I notice, especially in my ballads, I'll notice I'm using "and" a lot, and I'm trying okay, I got to mix that up. I don't want to be starting in every other line with the word "and." So I feel you there.
Yeah, it's tricky.
It's part of the fun of their creativity.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah. I mean, the most well-used term in all of our search engines is synonym, right? It's got to be.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
I keep an app on my phone just for that.
Synonym app.
All right, well, before we get into this final poem, Ryan, tell us a little bit about what you've been up to since your last appearance on You're the Poet. I believe that was back in episode 18, so we're 20 episodes later, and surely, besides this book, what else have you been up to in the poetry world?
Well, I've just carried on performing my poetry online and writing away, and I'm very fortunate to get some poems into the Wheelsong anthology and the Invisible Poets anthologies that were recently released. So, yes, I've just been very, very busy. One of the joys about poetry, as opposed to other forms of writing, is it is possible, seems to be, to fill it in, to write within the cracks of your life. in between work or being a dad or a husband. It's still possible to at least get something going.
Oh, yeah.
Which for anything that's more long form can be quite tricky, I think. It's a great honor, actually, and I can't believe all this stuff of mine is in one volume. It's truly amazing. I never thought that would ever happen.
Well, I think it's great. We're happy to plug it for you.
Thank you.
And you mentioned the Wheelsong Anthology, and I'll throw a plug in here for Steve Wheeler and Wheelsong Books that I believe they're taking call now for the Wheelsong Anthology 6.
They are indeed.
Please at least check it out when it does come out. Wheelsong Anthology 6.
Cool. Please do.
Yeah, and Ryan, tell us where we can find your book.
It can be found on Amazon. It can be found direct from wheelsong.co.uk, and it can be obtained apparently via Barnes & Noble and Waterstones as well. Yeah, okay. Even as I'm saying that, there's a certain surreal sense.
It's got to feel surreal. I know Phil and I keep talking about getting our book together, and he keeps getting on me to get to it, and I need to take the steps to do that.
It would be amazing if you got that out, guys. That'd be fantastic.
Phil wants me to show you. We finally got a mug going. You're the poet mug.
Oh, that's beautiful.
We'll see if those will eventually be some kind of merchandising in there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. A T-shirt cannon would be a good idea, I think.
Oh, yeah. We're talking about that next. But I made those for our anniversary, sort of like as a gift to my dad and myself when our anniversary episode came out.
Fantastic.
But at any rate.
Got another one for us.
I do. This is from the section from Elementals called Of Space and Connection. And in that section, one of the things I do is I write a poem about every major object in our solar system, all the way out to the nearest star, Proxima Centauri. It's a bit of an odyssey. Anyway, this one is Uranus. Before Kronos began to measure out your life, when, oblivious to the span, atrophy cut with her knife, before time's duration was a sensation that dripped like a stalactite, and calculations of its cessation gripped you anxiously tight. Before thought or dreams put shape on perception, before you sought esteem, before you ached to question, before even remembrance's architecture of memory, before identity's coalescence, that's where you found me. Right at the beginning of personal history, your sight illumining a celestial mystery. Gloriously, I was the starkest hue of blue, endlessly unknowable. Previously, dark was all you knew, and I gleamed precious, palpable. We wordlessly communed with just impulse and sense, as you curled, helplessly cocooned in infant innocence. But then I was mutilated, forgotten when sentience and identity proliferated as misbegotten adolescence in your psyche. You rejected my gift of quiescence, preferring restive distraction, dejected, adrift in consciousness, hurting with dissatisfaction. Free will scattered your peace with its rainbow, our stillness shattered by a bleak strain to know. Once, the earth was under your head, and you were lost in the sky. When death sunders the mortal thread, I'll hoist you aloft as you die. Ryan Morgan.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Something cheery to end on.
That's kind of deep.
It is kind of deep, and I like that. Without a whole lot of study, I was going to ask, it sort of seems like Uranus talking to the Earth. Is that how this is, or am I reading that wrong?
Yes, I think so. And possibly talking to man, really. I mean, Uranus is the primordial god, as you probably know, in Greek mythology.
The Titan, one of the Titans.
I think even pre the Titans, actually.
Okay.
It was Uranus and Gaia who gave birth to the Titans.
Yeah, that's right. Cronus was a Titan.
Yeah, exactly, which is Saturn, right? And so this is that kind of the state of being before identity forms, which is why I picked it, because it's kind of like a counterpoint in many, many ways to Taking Apart Descartes, which is about what is it that is the point of consciousness exactly? Well, this is a sense of being without the consciousness itself. And that perhaps the coalescence of our consciousness has created much torment for us. Perhaps we were happier before we knew that we were aware. And we're kind of in the womb of the earth. We're in the womb of Gaia herself, kind of idea.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. It was a great exercise, actually, to kind of meditate on each of the celestial objects and force yourself to write a poem on them.
I like that, though. That reminds me of taking poetry to the higher level. That, poets, we have this power, this ability to write about the greater and deeper things. And I think this is a good way to do that, and a good example of that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, it was a very good device. It was a very, very good device for that. And I'm glad you liked it. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, Ryan, before we wrap things up, is there anything else you'd like to say about poetry or the poetry world?
Only that it's been one of the nicest and cheapest midlife crises I've ever engaged in, becoming a poet in my late 40s. And I just want to thank everybody in this poetic communities for being so supportive. And yeah, just thanks to you guys. Thanks to the Burgios. Thanks to Steve Wheeler, and thanks to Matt Elmore and Brandon Adam Haven and everybody. It's just fantastic to feel part of something that's bigger than yourself.
Definitely. All right, as we wrap things up, we want to let our listeners know that we are grateful that you've taken the time to tune in. We hope you're enjoying the poetry shared here, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast and share it with others. If you would like to support You're the Poet and what we're doing here, we have set up a patron site at buymeacoffee.com/you'rethepoet. Thank you for your support as we continue to grow. If you've written any poetry and you want to share it here, whether you just have an interest in poetry, consider yourself an amateur poet, or are a professional poet with published works, contact us to be a guest on a future episode. Please check out our website and various social media outlets to keep up to date with You're the Poet. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and our website, you'rethepoet.com. Until next time, Phil, thanks for joining us.
Good night and joy be with you all.
Oh, that was perfect. That was so well timed, Phil. That's great.
I had to throw that in there.
No, that was good. Ryan, thank you for being our guest.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you guys. Goodbye.